Kelli's time is limited. We're going to get to her right now. Kelli Ward is with us. She is the chairwoman of the Republican Party in Arizona. Big lawsuit just filed there. Kelli Ward has been a fighter for voter integrity from the beginning. She's not backed down. She's been the backbone of Arizona in trying to get this right. You just heard Sidney Powell earlier saying that she's got evidence that counterfeit ballots were shipped in from Mexico to Arizona. Unbelievable. She just filed a big lawsuit there. Joining us now, Kelli Ward, the chairwoman of the Republican Party of Arizona. Hey, Kelli, thanks for being with us.
Hey, John. It's great to be with you. Francis and Tim, I'm sorry I'm skipping over you, but I hope that you like what you hear and stick it out here with John because, wow, what a powerhouse lineup you've already had this morning. So much great information. Thank you for traveling the state of Georgia, riling people up, making sure that they go and get out the vote so that we do keep that Senate, pressuring the leaders. I'm putting leaders in air quotes there in all of our states to do what's right, to make sure that we the people are assured of the integrity of our election. Here in Arizona, I was listening to Vernon just before. We have paper ballot backups, but we can't look at them. The judges are not allowing us to look at them. Now, there is a little exception and a little glimmer of hope because I filed a lawsuit. I was the plaintiff in the suit, basically about signatures and duplicated ballots. Duplicated ballots are the damaged ballots that an election worker has to recreate on behalf of the voter. The judge said, I'm going to err on the side of transparency. I'll let you look at 100 ballots. 100 out of almost 2 million. Okay, so it's a needle in the haystack. So we weren't that hopeful in those 100 that we'd find something. But I'm going to tell you, we found a 3% swing to President Trump. In those 100 ballots, there was one ballot that was cast for President Trump and given to Joe Biden. So that's +2 for President Trump right there. There was another ballot cast for President Trump and just thrown out altogether. So there's 3. So the county of Maricopa is supposed to allow us to look at 2,500 ballots yesterday and today and see what we find. I think that's up in the air now. I think they're trying to balk at that because they don't want people to know what we are finding.
Kelli, this is unbelievable. First of all, thank you for coming on at 6 a.m. out there. Thank you for all your work. Kelli's an FOJ, friend of John. She's been coming on my show for years. First when she ran against John McCain in a primary many years ago. Nobody gave her a chance in hell. She almost pulled off one of the biggest upsets. I was one of the first people to have her on nationally, and she's been fighting ever since. So you get 100 ballots, which is not statistically significant. That's a joke, right? They just did that to placate you. So you get that. You find 3%. A 3% fraud rate, right there, right? 3%, right. Let's call it inaccuracy rate. Well, if you got 2 million total, 3% of 2 million, that's 60,000.
That's right. And the race in Arizona is 0.3% between President Trump and the other guy. And so every single vote does count, and every single vote should count the way the voter cast it. We have got problems not just in Maricopa, but also in Pima County, where Tucson is, also in Coconino County, where Flagstaff is, with the duplication process. No observers present. People who were very giggly, friendly, like filling in those ballots in Coconino. In Pima, it was one Democrat filling in those ballots. In Maricopa, it was just a free-for-all. And so we need to look at, I believe, all of the ballots that were adjudicated, either duplicated or digitally adjudicated. In Maricopa County, we know about 11% of those 2 million ballots go to digital adjudication. So they don't look at the piece of paper. They look at a scan of a ballot. And when I say they, that means these are 2 temporary election department workers that are hired to do just this work. It's supposed to be 1 Republican and 1 Democrat. Usually these are Republicans and Democrats no one's ever seen because they're people that are willing to work for $12 an hour temporarily to go click buttons on the computer. Those 2 sit together in these adjudication boards, anywhere from 6 2-person teams to 15 2-person teams, according to the elections department. There's a roving independent that walks through all of these teams. And if there's a dispute, they get to decide what the voter believes. This process is inherently prone to fraudulent behavior because it's a click, 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 click. And we need to be able to look at these ballots, look at more of them, and assure that the right person will be awarded the electoral votes, the 11 electoral votes from the great state of Arizona. I wish our governor was pushing on that. Instead, he's giving press conferences with a disdainful look and disgust in his voice when he talks about the people of the state, and the people in leadership in the legislature who are trying to do something about it. And, of course, about me, but it's not about me. I've been on the bad list for the establishment for a long time, as you said, since I challenged John McCain. But I can tell you what that disgust and that disdain in his voice reminded me of in Governor Ducey was the day that John McCain went on the Senate floor and gave the thumb down and the thumb in the eye to the people of Arizona and the people of America. I'm sick of it. I'm never going to stop. I'm going to keep fighting. We have got to have integrity in our process, or our republic is doomed.
Kelli, people are just starting to disbelieve that their vote mattered or was counted or that it was marginalized. I mean, what you're describing in Arizona is incredible. We saw the lawsuit that Sidney Powell filed yesterday. I know you've seen that. I mean, that thing was.
Well, I'm a plaintiff in that, John. I'm one of the plaintiffs in that case too. There are bombshells. There are outrageous evidence. I'm not going to say accusations. There's outrageous evidence of fraud at every single level.
Every level.
Yes.
Kelli, this is the more we uncover this, the bigger it is. But Kelli Ward with us. She is the chairwoman of the Republican Party of Arizona. She's a fighter. She's been coming on my show for a decade, and she's never going to back down. And she's just a truth seeker. But Kelli, what you've uncovered in Arizona is incredible. And now you look back, the whole thing is tying in. You look back at Fox calling in immediately, right? What was that about? Because had they not been, the evidence that you have means that Arizona went for Trump in a pretty significant fashion if you simply follow the evidence, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yes. I think that President Trump won in a landslide in Arizona. I think Senator McSally might have even actually pulled it out, and we just seated the other guy yesterday, which is also a huge disappointment. And then don't forget, I mean, every other Republican seat that we were either defending or trying to get in Arizona, we got. And so it's just ludicrous to think that there's this huge red wave in Arizona, and the only ones not on it are President Trump and Martha McSally. So we've got to do our due diligence. I call on the governor to do his job, call for a forensic audit, impound those machines so that we can forensically audit the Dominion machine. Legislature, Senate President Karen Fann and Speaker of the House Rusty Bowers, call a formal hearing if the governor thinks it was just a meeting that 9 legislators had to expose the evidence of everything irregular going on in Arizona. Call for it, because if you're so sure of the process being so pure and so clean, then you should want to showcase it to the state and to the world instead of hide it like Katie Hobbs, the Democrat Secretary of State, wants to do. We need it out in the open. Sunlight is the cure to making sure that we do save our republic.
Well, they won't let you count the ballots. They won't let you impound the machines. They won't let you do a forensic analysis. And they won't let you look at the ballots. I mean, what they want to do is have you recount the same fraudulent ballots. That's the exact same thing that they did in Georgia with the recount. They were merely recounting the same fraud. How does that make any sense? Why not just open it up, check the signatures, check the paper ballots, do the match, check the machines, check it all? What's the problem? If there's no fraud, then wouldn't that come out?
Well, that's exactly right. Show us. Prove it to us. Don't just tell us to believe these people who have cheated, lied, and stolen to get where they are. We need the sunlight on these processes. And just think of it this way, John, and I talked to one of my other friends about this. And if you had a pile full of money, $1 million, but 30,000 or 300,000 of it is counterfeit, do you really have $1 million? You don't. You don't. Now, if you ran it through a counting machine at the bank, it's going to come out $1 million. You have to look at every one of those bills to make sure which one's legit and which one is fake. Every legal ballot should be counted. Every fake ballot, every illegal ballot should be thrown out. And when that happens, Donald Trump's going back to the White House for 4 more years.
Kelli Ward, Warrior, I know you got to take off. Thank you for making time at 6 a.m. in Arizona for us, Kelli. Thank you. I really appreciate
thanks, John.
it.
Hey, I hope
Thank
people
you.
will follow me at Kelli Ward AZ, Kelli with an I, because I care about the people. Come find me on social media.
At Kelli Ward AZ. Thank you, Kelli. All right, let's get the phone lines. Let's get to line 1. Been very patient. Thank you. Tim in Lynchburg. Tim, you're live.
Thank you, John, for taking my call. I am so sick about the way this election has been going. I'm normally not a pessimist. But the way I see it, the Georgia run-up election is already lost unless we fight fire with fire. I'm sick and tired of the Republican Party going to gunfights with knives. We need to do what they are doing. We need to fight fire with fire. We need to send out mail-in ballots just like they is. If they send out 900,000, then we need to send out 1 million and get the votes in. But if we don't do that, they can pull out, I guarantee you, they can bring out as many people to the polls as they want. It's going to be just like November 3rd. They going to have enough. They're going to make sure they get just enough mail-in ballots to win that election. And they're going to steal that one just like they stole November 3rd. I'm a black man who loves this country. I love this president. I hate to see that a man like Joe Biden, he don't even deserve the opportunity to be president of this country because he's done nothing for this country. He's done nothing but enrich himself. He's done nothing for the black people. And I just can't believe that he got more votes than Obama did. It's obvious that they stole this election, and they're emboldened because I feel like, they know they done it, but they know you can't prove it. So I just wanted to call in and just share my comments on that. Thank you for trucking the truth and putting the other side out there because nobody else is doing it.
Thank you, Tim. Keep fighting. Thank you. We're gonna win this, Tim. The truth is gonna come out. Might not come out today or tomorrow. This is a long process. They want us to quit. That's what they want to do. They want us to quit. Just go in the Senate, quit. That's what they want. They want you to quit. They want you to shut up and quit. We're not going to do it. We're done with that. Like Linwood said yesterday, you have the power. They don't have it. They think they have it because they've always had it. But now they're done. You have the power. You're in control of this, not the elected officials. You have the power. And now you're rising up. And that's what's happening. And they hate it. That's why Governor Ducey in Arizona doesn't want anything to do with this. Can't stand the press conferences. He wants to have the power. He wants to tell you what time you can go to dinner with your family, if you can go. That's what he wants to do. Let's go to Francis in Georgia. Francis, line 1, you're live.
Thank you, John, for taking my call. And I was one of those deplorables that showed up yesterday at the rally. And I just really want to second what Chris said in her email to you. Georgia voters, we are weaponizing our vote. And what that means is exactly what Raheem said yesterday. It was one of his last comments on the war room. Georgians, our last-ditch effort, we are going to remove our consent to what's happening in Georgia, and that means we're removing our vote. I am mortified. We got on Twitter when we got in our car after the rally yesterday. It was amazing to see Georgians showing up in the middle of the day to say, we've had enough. And if we looked on Twitter when we got in the car, and it was amazing to see all of the text messages that were coming across from Loeffner and David and Ronnie and all these other GOP establishments were sending out messages to us telling us they were actually, I want to use a new word, vote shaming us. Get out and vote. If you don't get out and vote, we're going to lose this election. We're going to lose our majority in the Senate. Yes, you are. And if they heard what Lynn and Sydney were saying, and they heard all those people, all of us that showed up yesterday, then what they could do is they could funnel that energy to get Kemp out of office, Model Boy off CNN, and Brad Rasmussen is what my husband calls him. They could get them out of the Georgia Capitol. They could use that energy. And also, Mitch McConnell, shame on you for what you did last night. That only emboldens us even more to stay away on January the 5th. So, if someone is needed to be led to have those three stooges recalled in Georgia, there's plenty of us that are happy to do that. We're not going to be vote shamed. We're not going to be scared of the boogeyman that shows up on January the 6th when we don't show up on January the 5th. They're not getting it, John. Tell us what we can do so they can listen to us, the voter in Georgia.
You have to keep doing, Francis, exactly what you're doing. And your message, Christine's last night, that said, you've had enough. You've been taken for granted, and you're now rising up. And they're not in charge. You are.
Yes.
But they want you to do what they want you to do. I mean, the hit piece on Linwood yesterday from McConnell's office through Breitbart is got to be one of the most despicable things. But here's the thing, Francis, they don't get it. They don't get it. They just want to go back to the old days where they can send you a text and you'll go like a robot and do whatever they want. And now you're rising up. Now you've had enough. And look, the bottom line is I got a text from Ann in Chesapeake. Vernon Jones said, get another 14,000 people out. Ann says, they'll just manufacture another 15,000 fake ballots. What's the difference? That's the problem. So you got to just keep doing, Francis, exactly what you're doing, speaking out.
We will not be vote shamed to show up on January the 5th. We will not.
Mm-hmm. Francis, they're not listening.
Well, they will on January the 6th.
Well, you've seen. I go around the state. I get these state senators on, and they're fighting with the callers. They're like, fighting with them, and telling them, you got to go out and vote. And like the one gentleman said yesterday, I don't have to do crap. It's like you have to go out and vote. And he said, excuse me, sir, I don't have to do crap. You have to do something.
Well, and
do something.
Newt Gingrich this morning wrote a text. Linwood and Sidney Powell are totally destructive. Every Georgia conservative who cares about America must vote in this runoff. Their don't vote strategy will cripple America. But what the GOP establishment, Newt and Ronnie, I have not, other than Vernon Jones, I have not seen anyone from the Georgia legislature, the House or the Senate, show up to anything. All right. We hear are these, 5-minute second, like they want to get their name out there. And it's not working. We're not stupid. And I don't want to hear Vernon Jones tell us that we cannot do paper ballots here in Georgia. You could stay the runoff for a few more weeks. I think the issue is that they don't want to get in that special legislature, right? They don't want to have a session, no matter what. Right. And that meant, if they could go in and do a paper ballot or anything like that, then that would, I don't understand why the same veracity against us, vote shaming us, is not used against, Kemp and Duncan and Rasmussen. I really don't understand it. And I think that, with all due respect, Kelli doesn't want to have a special session because she knows at the end of the day that that's not her seat. That's Doug Collins' seat.
Francis, you may be right. We're going to find this all out.
Thank you so much for what you're doing for us here in Georgia, getting the word out. It doesn't seem like anybody's listening but you and Steve and Raheem on War Room. We really appreciate it.
Well, Francis, you got it.